right. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Media Frenzy podcast. I'm Caitlin.
I'm Gracie.
I'm Hallie.
I'm Chloe.
And then today we have a guest on our show. Jalen, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Jalen Hereford, and I thank you all for inviting me to today's episode.
Yes, thank you for joining us. So today we're actually going to be starting off our TV month. We finished up last week's episode by finishing off movie month. So now we're transitioning into the world of television. So Jalen, I just wanted to ask you, I know you have a bit of experience in this area, so I just, wanted to ask you if you could tell us just kind of a little bit about like your overall experience when working on television and kind of maybe what made you want to pursue the field and all sort of stuff.
Oh, yeah, no problem. So I've always wanted to be a sports anchor or sports reporter. And so I found that doing that, you had to go into the news field. And so I would intern at the NBC station affiliate in Huntsville, Alabama, WAFF 48. And then once I graduated from Alabama A&M University with my bachelor's, I went to work for the ABC station affiliate, Wave 31. And so just going through and learning just how a production is prepared, especially live, that there's no error for mistakes. Things will happen, unfortunately, but I just thought that would be my best way to move up and get some experience and then branch out to go into sports. But I figured it was going, well, I knew it was going to take a while, and I didn't have that much passion or drive. And plus, just like with any other news outlet, people just say a lot of stuff, and people are attracted by the character than the actual person. So I said, I'm cool. I'll step back and go somewhere else.
What else then did you go to after that when you kind of realized you wanted to do something a little bit different?
Well, after working at Way 31 and realizing that $10 is not going to cut it no matter what I'm doing, I decided to go back to school and receive my master's in communication specialist. So I just always figured that plan B would be the teaching route.
That's awesome. What
I was actually curious if you're wanting to think of a question, Caitlin. Were you ever on screen or were you just doing background work?
I've always done background work. I usually did editing. I would write some of the scripts, especially for the Friday night high school football games, and go out there and film some kids to have that be the opener and then go straight to the football game coverage. But never did really go more into the be on camera. A couple of stuff I've done at A&M, I'm on camera when calling basketball games and interviewing, what was it, Trey Smith, a linebacker who won the Super Bowl in 2018 with the New England Patriots. And I've always shown that to class and said, yeah, you got to start somewhere. And that's not my favorite interview, but just growing pains. That's what it is, growing pains.
What would you do differently if you were to go back and kind of try that again? Like would you go back and do it again at all in the future?
Honestly, no, because it's a thankless job, so to speak. And it's your life is around news. And I'm the type of person that as soon as I look at a news event on my social media feed, I exit off everything because I just pull the shades. I just want to be in my happy world, even though this is the reality of things, but I'm just not with that. And I know people who are building and continuing to build, but it's taken them a long time, years in the making, to really be where they want to. And I could do that, but once again, I'm 24/7 news. That's not me. I'll become even more paranoid than what I am now.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you say you wanted to pursue teaching. Do you want to and obviously you're teaching now. Do you how do I phrase this? Do you want to continue teaching about it to kind of maybe like be like, oh, like here's like maybe some of the things that you can avoid, or like what do you hope to kind of mainly pass along to your students about this sort of field of work?
Well, I will say, and what you guys do is what I've been getting other students to do now is to go ahead and make the content now. Write a script, get to working with certain people that will hopefully improve. So that way, when you do go to that next field, whether it's the university route or once you graduate and you want to do something else, at least you have some sort of idea of what you want to do and you've already had that experience, even if it's in a novice level, it still give you that experience to branch out and want to pursue some things that you actually want to do, whether it's writing, whether it's acting, whether it's anything that goes along the mass communication field.
That's really cool. I know I've been asking a lot of questions. Do any of y'all have any other questions right now?
I was going to ask because you said you weren't interested in going back into like the TV field at all. So is like teaching what you want to do forever, or do you have like a new far off dream, or is this like I'm content with doing this?
Sort of, I'm very content with teaching, and if I branch out, it probably to a university or whatnot. If I get my doctorates, I know there's the chance of becoming a dean or whatnot, but that's too much pressure. I like to be in the shadows. I don't want to be the face because if I'm the face, that means there's a problem with the university in itself. However, no, I enjoy teaching. I enjoy just, giving you guys some type of advice and trying to have fun in class while we're actually learning at the same time. So I always think I would just like to relay information for students and show them this is what you can do in the future if you're serious about the field.
Well, I think it's working so far.
Oh, I
We've all
thank you,
had like a
Chloe.
good time in
Yeah.
this class
Yep.
and your other classes.
Yeah, this is definitely my favorite class because I was like, we're gonna do a podcast? This is so fun.
Yeah, so no, go ahead, Kaylin.
Oh, I was just gonna say I agree because it's like I don't know, especially because you kind of like bring yourself like you like level yourself like with your students. I feel like you kind of like I know you're a little bit younger too, so I mean I'm sure that probably makes a difference.
Just a little.
But it's just like fun that you're kind of like relatable to like your students and everything too, which I think is cool.
I try to be. I mean, even though I teach this field and whatnot, I mean, there's things that you guys know more than me. We all know more than each other. My thing is just talk about the basics. I know, what was it? I messed up one YouTuber's name yesterday. It was Markiplier. Is that the name?
Markiplier?
Markiplier.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Markiplier?
Yeah, that's the one.
Markiplier.
Markiplier.
Okay, whatever. Anyway,
I mean, he is a pretty zesty lad.
He
He's
is.
very zesty.
Yeah, he's a zesty lad, man. Questionable. But and I had some students like, how do you not know this? And I say, listen, I cover the basics, okay? The only thing I don't listen, the Nikado avocados in the world, of course, because it's right there in your face.
I mean,
But
of course.
of
That's
course.
the 6th time this week. Like,
I know. Hey, I stopped in PR. However, it just follows along with me.
I'm starting to think that you secretly do really like the Nikado avocado
Right.
videos because you know about him a little too much.
talk about him a lot.
Is he your like that? Is that guilty pleasure kind of watching of like, ooh, this is a train wreck and I love it? Is that
No, see, I
this
don't
is a
even
safe place? You can admit that.
No, see, I don't even watch all that. My top 3 feeds in YouTube, my searches it involves either anime, eating, or some type of wrestling / or music. And I just watch some people like do eating challenges or whatnot, or some people just eating food and just give me a review of it. That's why I like Review Bra. He's one of the people.
He's a classy man.
Exactly. And see, I try and see the in the relationship that I have with Review Bra, but he doesn't know it, is that we're all at an understanding. And that's why I try to get with my students. We're at an understanding. You may know more than me in some fields. I may know more than you in some fields, but the whole thing is let's learn what I'm teaching, have fun, and get the heck out of class. That's it.
I guess I would say I have like one more question. So since this is like for our podcast especially, and you do heavily project based for this class, how do you grade that for yourself? Like because it is grading art, I suppose. So how do you not like go over the line from subjective and objective? Because that can blur, I would feel.
So and Kaylin and Chloe, they would know this, especially with what I have them doing in media writing. And they have a group member, they do newscasts. And so they have a third person, Sage, who covers Hatsune Miku. I got it.
You
Perfect.
said it right this
That's
time.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. Practicing is perfect.
He can say
But
Hatsune Miku, but he can't say Markiplier.
I sure can. Sure can. Hey, that's next on the list. That's next on the list of pronunciation.
You're
So
gonna go home and practice, just like be driving, just like
exactly. That's what I do. Hey, Chloe knows that Camila, I did not know how to say her name at first in content 10. But so art is subjective, and anything you guys cover, even though I may not know about it or be privy to it, the whole thing is, okay, if this is released out to the public, if I show this to the dean, is this worth the dean seeing? And so that's how I project it. Now, you guys are fine. You guys are fine. The gentleman, not even one episode, not even one episode,
No.
not even one episode.
I
It's
mean,
good for
Not even
me.
our live episode.
No, not even one.
Their best
It's
one.
good for me. I would view it, and I think others would too. But if we're talking from professional standpoint, hey, I got these students. This can be an internship or some opportunity. Oh, no, not for them. Not for them.
I don't think you should send any of our like you said that it like compared to them, maybe, but I still don't, some of the things we've talked about.
we are
You
more
bring up incest
public
a lot.
friendly. But hey, we don't bring up incest in a positive light. We've
true.
We're
strongly
very adamantly against it.
It's one of
right.
our
We have
our corporate
we as a-
values is against
Right?
incest.
When whoever is editing, anytime you mention the word incest, just a banjo should just play in the background. That's what it should be.
I
We
will
should've
make a
said
note of
that
that. I will make a note of
at
that.
the beginning of the semester, because we've had so many talks about it now.
Yeah, boom, the banjo can play
Well,
right there.
there's too much in Hollywood.
That's
It is.
true.
So it's not our fault that we just are noticing things. But again, we are strongly against it. We've taken a strong stance against it. So I think it's okay that we bring it up.
Yeah.
Bad.
Hey, Media Frenzy does not recommend anybody watching the Cartoon Network show Uncle Grandpa because it's wrong
Oh,
on so
God.
many levels.
So many.
It's true. Why did they make that show?
Why did they make so
don't
many of those
figure
weird things?
For funsies.
Yeah, well, cartoonists are always trying to either break the fourth wall or throw in certain things that you don't have to say necessarily, but you can throw it out there and be slick about it. And that's in all cartoons. I mean, hey, one of the famous iconic characters in cartoon is Betty Boop.
Oh, true.
And look what's
Love
going
her.
on with that. Yeah.
Oh,
man.
do you have a favorite TV show?
Do I
Oh,
have
yeah.
a favorite TV show?
Yeah.
Man. Okay, so
TV month.
yeah, there we go. There we go. Hey,
We're
that's
on
a good
topic.
transition. That's a good transition. So are we talking? Okay, forget it. I'll just say this. Big Mouth is probably my favorite just because it's very learning. I mean, you can learn from it. It teaches you about what you went through middle school, especially with puberty. So yeah, I would recommend and not recommend everyone to watch Big Mouth on Netflix.
I watched the
5
first season of
seasons.
Big Mouth, so it's very interesting that
Oh
you're
yes.
saying it in such a gentle and positive light
Yeah.
without
It's
so
so
many warnings
earnest.
that it
Interesting choice.
would recommend.
Oh yeah. It's
Mhm.
it's informative. It's informative. It talks about real life. Talks about real life. So yeah. I mean, besides that, we can go to second one would be Dragon Ball. There we go. Dragon Ball. There we go. Something less
A good wholesome
Controversial.
show.
there we go. There we go. Good wholesome, less greasy and whatnot. Yeah, Dragon Ball is beautiful.
If you could, I guess following along with that, Hallie, what you just asked, if you could create your own TV show, what would that look like? Like what, and would you be in it at all? Like how would you be
Ooh.
involved?
Ooh. So I already say I'm sort of, but I always every now and then I'll go back and add some stuff to the script. But I would love to have a TV show. I would cast myself in it. I would probably put it on a streaming service so that way I can get away with a lot of things. But so I have dark humor. So
Your favorite show is Big Mouth, so yeah.
yeah, exactly. So there'll just be certain things that I would add on there, and the language would be a little bit strong, but I think it would be a success because many shows have strong language. You mentioned BoJack Horseman on one of your episodes, and look where that is at. So yeah.
What would the plot, if you want to share, you don't have to share, what would the plot generally be about?
Oh, sure, no problem. So it's about two guys who went to college with each other, graduated, and they both work for they both are in PR and they work for this big firm. And one guy, my character, is always just doing, he is the best. I mean, he makes great partners with all people from the companies. I mean, there's this Japanese guy that anytime he comes to town, he wants to see me because I'm the one who can get the deal across and make him do anything I want for the deal, because he just has a good time with me. The other guy, he's more laid back and whatnot, and he's great too. It's just that my character is very energetic and all over the place. So it always sort of outshadows him.
So
I'm
Who
Cindy,
would play the other guy? Oh,
I'm
sorry.
getting self-insert fanfic vibes.
Yeah, sure, we can say that.
Like,
We
my
can say
character's
that.
the best. He's super cool. YN.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean,
Ryan.
oh yeah, but I think my character, I wouldn't say it got canceled, but I probably received something from the NAACP saying that's not funny. So, we'll work through that. We'll work through that. We'll work through that.
so wait, so since you kind of like, you've said a lot about cartoon shows, would this be a cartoon or would this be live action at all? Or would it be like a mixture of both? Or like what kind of TV show would it be?
It would be a mixture of both. It would be a mixture of both. I like live action better than animation. Well, no, that's a lie. I like
That's
animation more
shocking.
than live
The two
action.
shows you mentioned were both animated.
It's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, my bad. I mean, I like animation more than live action. However, this show will be live action, but I wouldn't have no audience track or anything like that. If you don't know the joke, don't worry about it. We just continue on with the show.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm trying. I'll edit this out.
Caitlin looks through notes.
Okay.
Well,
looks
you
through
guys
her
already
notes.
asked a couple of the other questions that I was gonna ask, so
Sorry,
I'm like,
we
oh,
did that.
okay.
You're good. I
Well-
just want to ask really quickly, what genre would you classify this? Because you have given a somewhat vague plot and worrisome
Mhm.
warnings for it. So how would you classify this show that you have thought of?
Oh, it's comedy. It's comedy.
Oh, it's a comedy?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a comedy.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not about to be no, I don't know, naked guy in the trunk because of a bad deal gone wrong. No.
Whoa.
I thought maybe like drama.
We don't know if
like,
this was like, some sort of dark
know,
plot line that you were spinning.
maybe
the
your
mob or
character is
something.
the best, but like he's the best because he's secretly a mob boss. I don't know.
Yeah, he's the best because he removes anyone else out of the equation.
Oh, I mean, he has relationships and whatnot. A little scratch, watch my back, scratch yours, stuff like that. But it's all clean and whatnot.
Like
Okay.
with the Japanese guy, the shady guy. Is he shady?
No, he's not shady. No, this is more from the technological standpoint. And the firm that the characters work for like to do deals and whatnot for this certain technological company because it's one of the popular, richest companies in the world. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
That's pretty cool. When would you make it? Like if you could, like, would you make it now if you could?
Yeah, if I could, yeah, probably so. Probably so.
That's cool. Well, on a little bit more of a serious note-ish, what has impacted you the most, either positively or negatively, about working kind of in this industry? Like, do you view anything differently since working in this field, or it's kind of what are your overall thoughts after having like been in it?
For being in this field, I think urgency is more than anything. And that's why I like for you all to have just urgency. You four are fine. Other students, they will learn over time, but urgency. Once there's a set date, for school, hey, I'm sorry, I was sick or something like that. That's fine. However, once you get into the production side or just the television side, whether you're on screen or off screen, if you're not there, people will love to replace you because the competition is high. So not saying that you're irreplaceable, but people will step up to replace you if you do not show that you have some sort of urgency into what you're doing. So I think that's one of the best things I've learned. We had a station manager, and he was always a butt munch. Let's say that. We'll say that. So he was always a butt munch, and he was great at what he did. And he comes from New York, so that can explain his attitude. But anytime he talked to me, especially when I was leaving Way 31, he said, "Hey, if you ever want to come back here and work here, if you want to be in a producing gig or whatever, let me know, because you were one of the best." And I said, "Oh," I was caught off guard. I said, "I thought I was about to get cussed out. That's weird." Sure. Okay. So it meant a lot to me that, wow, this guy who's pretty much has always a snobby attitude and whatnot came to me and just said, "Hey, you do a great job because you have urgency. And if everybody has somewhat of your energy to cover things on time, we will be great." So yeah, I think that's a positive I learned. A negative is, I don't think there is a negative. It's more of just trying to build over time. And that's just something that I just can't do, especially if it's $10 an hour and waiting for the next year to get a dollar raise or $2 raise. It's just, you're stretching yourself out on 4 or 5 things with doing graphic design, editing, producing, all this stuff. And yet the money's not there, especially in my position. I just don't have time for that. So I would say that's the positive and negative of the field.
That makes sense. Well, do you guys have any other questions?
You said there was no room for like margin of error in your job at the station. So are there any memorable like errors that you can think of and would like to share?
Oh, sure. Yeah. You guys know the studio camera that was in the studio camera that's in the studio of the Columbia building where we all went to record and whatnot, right? So with those, you can pan and tilt and whatnot, but you have to lock it after you pan or tilt. So there's an episode and we're ending. This is about the 5 o'clock show. No, the 6 o'clock, because we had a 4, 4:30, 5, and 6 o'clock in the evenings. And then you have your 10 o'clock. So it's the ending of it. And there's 3 cameras in the station. There's always one for the key wall for your meteorologist, and then 2 cameras for both anchors. So the way the producer made the shot chart was, okay, put the 3rd camera at the key wall, move those cameras away and move it all the way to the back. So that way it shows the anchors. So I don't know what I was doing, and it frustrated me because it was a stupid shot that could have just been on one of the cameras on the anchors. So I'm getting this shot and it's on them. However, the other camera to the left that's not on the screen or anything, I forgot to lock it. And so as the show is closing, I can hear the anchors. So I am Dan Schaefer, and this is Naja Sherman with Kate McKinnon. And so I'm thinking, something doesn't feel right. So the camera just slowly goes all the way down, and the anchors see it, but they're keeping their composure, saying, "I'm Dan Schaefer." Thank you. And then the camera just falls because it's hooked. It just falls to the tripod. So it doesn't fall on the floor, but it falls to the tripod.
Okay.
And I was like, and the direct booth can see that. And it was like, yeah, I think we made it a little bit complicated, but either way, these things happen. So it's just those small errors. It's not that bad because that happens once in a while because you forget because there's so much going on. But yeah, that was definitely one to remember. And then there was one more when I was interning at 48. It was a reporter who wanted to do anchoring. And so we're about to get ready and whatnot. All of a sudden, I don't know, he freaks out. He drops his papers and the camera is live. He's like, no, we can't do it right now. We can't do it right now. And he's just freaking out. And so they had to transition somewhere else. It was beautiful. Beautiful.
So thinking of like that level of adaptability and stuff, how would you say people, whether they be on screen or off screen, how well do you think people have to have the skill of adaptability or even like improv?
Oh, I mean, you have to be quick to adapt. I think I was training off in the studio for about 2 weeks, 5 days a week, 2 days. I mean, yeah, 2 or 3 weeks before I had to do it by myself because someone was going on vacation. So when it comes to news, I think more of production of filming for a TV show or movie, it's a little bit laid back. You still have people who are pretty much aggressive into, okay, we need to get this shot done. No, this wasn't due. We got to do it again. We got to do it again. In the TV news, you only have one shot. But with the production booth, you got nothing but people yelling in your ear. You have nothing but the producer probably yelling in the IFBs of the anchors. The anchors are probably pissed because the way the script is written, they're like, yeah, that doesn't make no lick of sense. And I'm not going to say it like that. Matter of fact, who wrote this? So egos are always in the place because everybody wants to do the best job they can. And this is on a daily basis. The 5 o'clock show can be good. However, the 6 o'clock show is not as good, then the whole day is ruined. So it's things like that, like one newscast can mess up the rest of the day. Now, if it happens early at that 4 o'clock, and then that was the only time, and then the 4:35, 6, and 10 goes good, it was a good day. But anytime in the middle or at the end, it was just a catastrophe. So that's the one thing that I hate is that everybody is yelling because they want everything to be perfect. And there's a sense of we may get fired if this segment or script is not as great as it could be, especially with competing with the other networks too in the area.
Wow. That's intense. I'm kind of
Very.
sitting here and I'm thinking, I'm like, my gosh, like for me personally, I don't necessarily want to go into like the field of like broadcasting and everything, but just sitting here like listening to your experience of being on a set, like, I mean, because I want to work more in like the film field, but I'm like, my gosh, like it sounds like you have to have some pretty thick skin, I guess, to be able to get through that. But well, do you have any like other overall thoughts or words of advice or anything like that for just this field, or just any other just closing remarks?
True. Well, I know Hallie wants to be a librarian, of course. Okay, so I mean, she's already said what she wants to do. So, I mean, it's very much advice I can only give for that. But as far as whoever wants to be in media, I'll say that whoever wants to be in media, I would say practice on working on everything now. So that way you can create a reel of some of the best things you've done. That way, if you want to intern for a major company, whether it's FX or a Disney or whatnot, you show them your content of what you can do, and that could especially get your foot in the door. And also, once again, if you are the best worker, you would think that, okay, you should be able to do this, you should be able to receive this position, but it's also who you know as well that can help you get your foot in the door. Because I mean, just look at YouTube. How can you become a great YouTuber? It's all about the content. But let's say if I'm covering Hatsune whatever. If I'm covering Big Time Rush, I don't care. We just go there. If I'm covering Big Time Rush, I gotta have some information. I got to be informative. I have to be accurate. I have to be different from anybody else who's covering Big Time Rush or just a band in general. I have to be something. I have to have a personality that everybody caters to. And regardless if it's a bad episode or a good episode, people is like, man, I got my fix today. I got my video for today. I can move on. So it's all about just applying and working on your craft to become better, because there's always somebody else who may be better than you, who wants to be better than you. So you always got to look at yourself as each video, even if it's done correctly, it's not good enough. Even if it was a good day, you got 1 million views, it's not good enough. You have to continue to have that attitude that I have to always be great. And the little thing that didn't make it great, I got to work on that. So just constantly being consistent. I'll say that, just being consistent in your craft and continuing to produce and create content for people to enjoy.
That's awesome. Well, Hallie, Chloe, or Gracie, do you guys have any thoughts or any other questions before we wrap up?
I don't think
I have
so.
one question.
Okay.
Who would play the other guy in your in your comedy show?
Oh, that's a great question. So who would play the other guy for me? So I'm going back and forth on if the person should be Caucasian or African American. So let's say for Caucasian, it would probably be snap. What is his name? I don't know. Andrew Garfield. There we go. Andrew Garfield
Really?
for that. Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes, oh yes. I told you he's laid back, he's chilled. Andrew Garfield's laid back and chilled. Even when I was watching the Spider-Man, he's like, "I'll save you," and he'll just mosey on over there. I was like, I can't take him serious. Tobey Maguire is a more serious Spider-Man than him or Tom Holland, but whatever. For African American, it would be either somebody like a Tyler the Creator or a rapper that I know of, Vince Staples, who's from California. It would be somebody like that to
I
play
feel like
the other guy.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was done.
I feel like I could see you with a Kevin Hart or something like that. I don't know.
I feel like
just
that's
something,
too
really
funny for what he wants, though.
True.
He said it was a
true.
comedy.
Yeah, it
But
is a comedy. Yeah, it's a comedy.
dark comedy.
Yeah.
My question is, I'm putting on the spot because we have you here and you claimed to not have one, but everyone has to have one. Male celebrity crush.
Yes.
Oh,
We've
see.
expressed
All of
Hallie
our
the hard-hitting question.
yeah. Who do you think is zesty, as you would say?
Okay, cool. Oh no, I have no problem answering that. So here's
You
my
had
thing.
one before. You're like, I don't have one of those.
Yeah, here's my thing. I don't, but I would say Prince was a very great looking man. And then Michael on the bad cover, oh man, that was a good, pretty looking man. But no, I don't have a man crush. You know, I don't even wear football or basketball. I don't wear no jerseys. You know why I don't wear no jerseys? Because it has a man's name on the back. And then if I feel like if I wear that, I'm representing that man. And I feel uncomfortable. I wear a girl's name, I wear my name. I'm not wearing no man's name. I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes, LeBron James, Michael Jordan. Oh well, I will sell that. Not wearing no man's jersey. No, I feel like I'm his property.
I'm
No.
gonna take this energy going forward in my life. I'm not gonna wear a man's name.
Exactly. I wear a woman's jersey, no problem. But a man's jersey, no.
Oh my god.
Hey, I'm LeBron. Hey, LeBron, I'm wearing your jersey. You own me. You own me. No, not doing that.
You know what? I think this is great because this really highlights Media Frenzy's ideas of principles, even of gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh. Well,
What
if
have
there's
we
no
learned?
other talk of man crushes. Oh, wait, just kidding. What have we
Oh.
learned today?
Have we learned anything? What was the lesson?
I've learned that this is definitely wrong. That's the banjo.
You didn't know that before?
Right?
Oh, I knew
I'm a
I
little
knew that as
confused.
well. Oh, my bad. It's wrong no matter where, whether in fiction or nonfiction. There we go. There we go. Whether fan fiction or nonfiction. There we go. Let's clean that up real quick.
Anybody else?
I've learned that I don't want to wear jerseys because I am no man's property.
Yeah, that's what I learned.
Right on, sister. Right on, sisters. Right on, sisters.
Feminism.
Woo,
Feminism.
yeah.
There we go.
Oh boy.
Chloe, have you learned anything?
Yeah, I learned to be a feminist in all situations.
There we go.
Oh my gosh. Well, Hallie, did you say what you learned?
Yeah, same as Gracie. No man's name will be on my person.
Amen. Amen to that. Well, is that oh my gosh, I'm over this. Okay. Well, Jalen, thank you so much for joining us today on our podcast. We loved having you here and getting to hear your stories. Yeah. I guess if that's all, then we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Thank you guys. I
Bye.
can't even see my hands.